it was so strange them just like standing in my room and like looking at stuff, and I'm just like, please don't touch my action figures because I will actually kill all of you. Like, you will not live to see the end of the day.
And then my girlfriend sees it one day. She's like, what's that? She yoinks it from my face.
So at least it was that. If they were like, no, sorry, we can't move them, I honestly would have lifted the car up and fucking thrown it at that point. Like, I was livid.
Yo, can we talk about how many mattress firms there are in America? Like, there's way too many.
I gotta skip the dishes email. Order today to make a difference. We'll donate $1 to every food banks. To Food Bank Canada, providing 2 meals to someone in need. No minimum necessary. Any restaurant you choose. Oh, that's nice of them.
Wait. $1 for 2 meals?
What restaurant are they going to? Sorry.
That's cheaper than McDonald's.
Did you ever do that thing in school where it was like you had to solve math problems, and every math problem you solved was like a grain of rice or some shit? And
what? No.
Then everyone in school did it, and it was like, oh my god, guys, we raised 300,000 grains of rice, and now we can feed all these people. And it wasn't until I got older that I was like when I have a bowl of rice, that's like 300,000 grains right there. Like, and I was like really thinking, because they were like, oh, we can feed a country with this, and I was like, oh wow, sick. And now I think about it, and I'm like, a country of like 4 people. Or I just, because like 300,000 grains of rice, that's got to be like a big bag of rice, right? Like
I couldn't tell you, but that reminds me of this one show that I used to watch on PBS Kids. It was called Between the Lions, and it's basically like books and stuff, or like literature. But one of the stories that they were telling was like there was like this really, I'm not sure if he was like a greedy king, but he was a king.
Okay. And
he was ruling over a country that, you know, there's some poverty, and, you know, some kid was like, hey, let's make a deal. Something along the lines of, there's this checkerboard, and for each square on the checkerboard, we'll put a grain of rice, and then for each next square, we'll double it. And so it started off with 1, and then 2, 4. And then by the time they got to the end of the checkerboard, they said it was enough to feed like the entire kingdom or like the entire country. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah, if it's doubling.
That's a cool math.
Okay, so it's, yeah, for some reason I was thinking like they're going by 2s, and I was like, man, by the time they get to the end, they'll have like 20 grains of rice. But no, if it's like,
no, they're doubling it each time.
Okay,
yeah.
No, yeah, never mind, that makes sense.
And, you know, I saw that, I was like, man, there's a power of math right there.
Yo, math is crazy. It's why I don't like it. I don't trust math.
If it was in when did that happen? Was that like elementary school or like first few grades of school?
It would have been middle school.
I probably would have still crushed it. Like
I was in 7th grade, and
I don't know if I could carry like 300,000 questions, but
can you fucking imagine one guy is just a whiz kid, feeds everybody? They're like, holy shit, goddamn.
No, honestly, like in middle school, right? Math was like my strongest. I mean, it still is my strongest subject, but I'm just not as good as it now because calculus is hard as frick. But like algebra and like all the easy stuff before that, it was so easy for me. Like that was like before they, you know, threw in like a bunch of letters and like sine, cosine, like all the trigonometry stuff.
Not to brag,
I crushed it.
But I was absolutely cracked at long division in 5th grade. In 5th grade, I was absolutely cracked at long division. Don't ask me shit now. But I remember because me and my friend. So when I was in 5th grade, it was a 4th, 5th grade split because there wasn't enough kids in either. So because it's Canada, so there's always like French immersion and stuff, and most of the kids went to French immersion. So the English side of grade 5, 4, and 5, there wasn't enough kids, so they merged it into one class. So, and one of my and my friend, he was like my like our parents knew each other. Then that's how he's younger than me by a couple years. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh God.
Bless you.
Oh, it's gone now. Thanks. Preemptive bless you. He was like,
I have
thanks.
healing powers.
Anyway, and I remember me and him would do long division.
Just for fun.
We were like the greatest, and like everyone else would be like, it's like, all right, recess. And we were like, yo, want to do another couple questions? And we were like, hell yeah. And then we were just doing long division. And I remember our teacher got mad at us one time. Because like we would do it and then switch with each other and then critique each other's things. And you would have looked at us, and it's like, so picture me, but small, very small, and like sitting at the desk and just being like, yes, of course. I didn't have glasses on either, but like you would have thought we were Einstein, because we were like looking at these questions like, oh yes, very very interesting. And the teacher would be like, oh, good job, guys, and we were like, hold on a second, and then we'd like roast each other because we were like, no, you moron, this is not how it's done. And now I'd have no idea. I haven't talked to him in years, so maybe he's really good at long division still. I haven't talked to him since, so I have no idea. But hope he's doing well.
Also,
have
you ever seen...
we didn't mention, but welcome to the podcast, everybody. It's like
What's up?
5 minutes in. This is episode like 15, I think.
It's episode 15. This is the math podcast.
I got some Pure Life water. This is math. Yeah, this is the Math Cast episode 2, because I think we talked about math in the previous episode.
Did we?
Well, have you ever seen? There's an episode titled
"Math is Hard" or something.
How much we hate math, especially Matthew, or something like that. But
I feel like that was a Pokemon episode.
We definitely talked about math, and I talked about Soul Eater because that's when I was watching that. But that's anyway, right. Sorry, I totally just cut you off there.
I wanted to talk more about math, but I don't know if I wanted to talk more about math. But
go for it.
I was just thinking about like for some reason like it was titled like Chinese multiplication. But I don't exactly know if that's like the actual origins of it. But it was basically you could multiply like 3-digit numbers together by just drawing lines. So if you did like 21 times, or it works for 2, 3, whatever number of digit numbers. But if you did like 21 times 2, for example, you would draw like 2 lines for the 2 and 21, and then 1 line for the 1 and 21, and then 2 lines for the 2 that you're multiplying it by. And then you end up with 4 intersecting dots like this at the top, and then 2 at the bottom, and that's how you get 42.
I think I did math this way. I think that's how I was taught. That sounds awful familiar.
Pretty cool. Yeah, but then imagine you just doing on a test like playing tic-tac-toe. Drawing so many lines, you run out of paper.
One of my biggest issues with the school system is everything, but I hate the fact that we're taught to just take tests. Because it's like, oh my God, the fact that it's just like, because I'm the prime example of why the school system has failed. Because because it's like, I do not remember jack shit from school.
Same.
I remember like zilch. I just remember how mean everyone was to me. I remember getting bullied. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
It's a shame that I hit my growth spurt after I left school, because the last time everyone saw me, everyone like my old classmates, I got made fun of for being short and fat. Now I'm taller and fat. So big brain.
Dude, I remember like I feel like a lot of people get bullied like you always see a few people getting bullied and stuff. I was, bullied at one point. I mean, I'm Asian, of course, so we all get bullied for being Asian. But then, like, as I got into, like, high school and, like, now in college, it, like, you hardly see it anymore, So it really was just like a middle school phase that you grow out of, throwing my phone over there because it's buzzing. Well,
I think it depends. I think it's also not necessarily like bullying at least in my experience, that bullying goes away. I think it's just like as you get older, you handle it differently. Because when
That's
you're
true.
younger, I think it's also just like when I was in middle school, someone calling me fat was like, oh shit, because it was something that like I've never been happy with how I looked and like my weight and that sort of stuff. But it's stuff that I always knew I could change. And then when I got to the point where I was like, I could change this, I could lose weight, I could get in shape, I just don't. So therefore, I have no reason to complain about it. But it's also just like when I was a kid, that was like the biggest issue. And now I'm like, if someone called me fat was the worst thing that happened today, oh my God, it'd be a godsend. Because
Oh
now
my
it's like,
gosh.
now you got taxes and you got life, just being an adult. Which, speaking of which, that's what I wanted to talk about. Because you mentioned I have my water, and I just before we started recording, I said, doesn't this look refreshing? Because I just pulled this shit right out of the fridge. So I turn 19 soon, which is in Canada that's the legal drinking age. So I'll be able to drink legally soon. And I there was this so Ryan Reynolds, I don't know if he still does, but he had this thing, Aviation Gin. I don't know if he's still a part of it. I mean, I know Aviation Gin is still a thing. But I saw a video like, I don't know, like a week ago maybe. It was on my shorts feed, and I saw it was like he was making this cranberry aviation gin drink, and it looked so goddamn refreshing that I was like, this could taste like shit, but I don't know if it's just the way he sold it or the people who filmed the commercial, but that looks so good. And we have aviation gin in the house, so as soon as I turn 19, I'm making that drink, and hopefully
you could still have it as long as you're still in the house.
Hopefully it doesn't taste
You're not
too...
going out and about.
Well, the thing is like, really there isn't going to be much difference between now and a couple weeks from now, because I'm like, my body structure isn't suddenly going to change, and now my body's like, yes, I can handle alcohol
You're gonna
flawlessly.
turn into the Hulk. Turn 19.
So I'm like, you know, I probably could, but I'm still just like, oh, it's against the law. Ooh. What if the police find out? Just gonna go live and drink alcohol on stream. Yep, I'm totally legal.
I remember I went to go hang out with my girlfriend. I was still 20. The legal drinking age here in America is 21.
It's so old, dude. Oh my God.
I was 20. I was 20 and my girlfriend was 21, and her friends that we were with were also like drinking age. So
peer pressure, man.
We were taking a picture, and everyone like clinked their bottles together, and I had my cup of water. And it looked so funny in the picture.
Oh God.
Oh man.
Well,
I think it was at like a German sausage place. It was pretty good.
German sausage place, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing about like America, is there's so much. I also I brushed too close to my microphone, and I realized I still have chin hairs, and I shaved the other day, and I guess I didn't do that good of a job. No, for some reason, side tangent, when I shave now, I think I need to get a new razor. But when I shave now, the hair is thickest on my neck, but for some reason, my razor cannot cut through my chin hairs very well.
Oh my gosh, my girlfriend gets on to me all the time because I will always have one really long chin hair. And I think it runs through the family because my mom has one too. And she's like, it's good luck if you have one. Superstitions. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll keep it. And then my girlfriend sees it one day. She's like, what's that? And she yoinks it from my face.
I'm just imagining for some reason that, I don't know why, this is the first that popped in my head, was that she's like on the other side of the room, like playing video games or whatever, and you like scratch your face, and then she's like, and then fucking sprints over. It's like, no, that's not acceptable. No, but
yeah.
I can't grow a beard or anything, like, clearly. But
I'll grow one really long, like, chin hair.
Well, it doesn't help that I'm an anime fan, but I can only grow a neck beard. Like, I can grow like a chin strap, basically, like I'm wearing a bike helmet. Yeah, so for some reason it only grows, like, it doesn't really grow much on my cheeks, and there's like one spot right under whatever this part of the face is called. that I can't grow any hair, which is where my brother can grow hair. My brother can't grow hair anywhere else, which is really interesting. Because this is like the one spot on my neck or chin, jaw, whatever, that I can't grow hair, but my brother can grow. That's the only place he can grow hair. So if our genes combined, I'd have a beard. But anyway, so in the last episode, I talked about buying some very expensive pants.
We even made a short about it, so
we did.
If you haven't seen the short, check it out.
I don't know if I hit public on that yet, though.
Oh,
so that might still be private, but we'll deal with that right after.
When this goes up, it'll be public.
But yeah, so my pants got here like a day or two after we recorded the last one. I'm wearing them now, so either we'll make this the thumbnail, or if you're listening to this, watch for a second, because I'm going to show off my epic pants. All right, Zuko, you're going to have to go on the floor for a second.
Oh my gosh, pants reveal.
I don't know how to show these off. Because I'm just going to stand up and just...
It's not in the shot.
Do I stand on my chair?
I think you'd have to stand, or you can scoot like way in the back. I don't know if you can handle sitting on a chair, because it might fall back.
Sure, feck it.
It's a rolly chair, you might fall.
You know what? That's a bad idea. It's on wheels. So, if I back
ooh.
up, can you see my epic
Yo,
pants?
those look really cool. You can't hear me.
My microphone's
They kind of look like My Hero Academia pants.
These are my epic
Do they?
pants.
They look really good. I mean, obviously they're Nightwing pants, and that's what they're themed after.
Now? I can't hear what you're saying, but
They look pretty good. He can't hear me. I'll tell him what I said.
Sorry,
I said they remind me of I said My Hero Academia, more specifically like Deku pants, but not green.
Yes,
yeah, and I said they look pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, man. So, to finish out the jogger story, so they got in. They're very comfy. They're super comfy. And
they better be.
Well, yeah. So I thought, did I tell you about this already? I don't know. So I thought they were Nightwing pants. They're not Nightwing pants.
Oh, they're not.
I thought they were based on Nightwing. And then I got an email from them, and they were like, "Yo, they aren't." No, I got an email from them, and it was like, "Hey, do you want to buy the shirt with the pants? Because there's like a workout shirt that comes with it, and it's like another $100." And I was like, "I don't need a workout shirt." Yeah, so they were like, "Oh, do you want to buy the Richard shirt?" And I thought, because I was like, okay, Dick Grayson, right? Like that's Nightwing's real name, and he sometimes is called Richard in the comics. So I thought they were being like coy with that or whatever, and be like, "Oh, it's Richard." So it's like, you know. Turns out it's Reed Richards, the motherfucker from Fantastic Four, the guy with the really stretchy arms, which I got long arms, but I ain't a Mr. Fantastic. So anyway, they're based on that.
But that's why they're blue. Yeah,
they still looked. It makes way more sense because the actual Nightwing pants are literally just black with a little bit of blue on them, and they look kind of dumb. So I'm gonna go with the notion.
Regardless, they look pretty cool.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is they look nice and they're comfy. I went to me and my brother went to Domino's, pizza place, and I was wearing these and a blue sweater that I have. And we were standing there, and I felt so out of place. Because I'm wearing like all blue. It looks like I was ready to go run like a themed marathon. And then we were leaving, and he was like, "Man, we look so dumb in there." And he was like, "You're standing there looking like Sonic the Hedgehog." And I'm like, "Man." But yeah, I was gonna buy more stuff from them, but God, their stuff is very expensive. It's such a shame because their stuff is really nice. But I'm kind of more like, I'll probably buy more stuff when they got like an epic sale going on.
Yeah. On the flip side of buying pants and shorts from a website, there were these really cool Dragon Ball shorts that I saw on yet another sketchy looking website, but the prices look good. It had like one of the Goku logos on there, on like the kind of like where your thigh goes. And they had like a pretty short, I think it was like 7-inch seam, and I really liked it, so I got it. And I got that one and then another one in like a different colorway, but it turns out that like the other one that I wanted in the other colorway was like a different type of pant entirely, and I thought they were going to be like the exact same. So one ended up being in like the kind of like swim short material almost. Okay. And then the other one, the swim short material is kind of like what I was okay with, but then the other one was kind of like just kind of like t-shirt cotton fabric.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was really weird. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I really hope I didn't just buy like knockoff. I mean, obviously they're not made by like Bandai Namco or whoever. Dragon Ball stuff. Yeah, but I hope that they weren't like cheap material and stuff. I still wear them; they're still pretty comfy. I use the other ones as like pajama pants. They're pretty comfy. And then I play tennis in like the first ones, which are pretty nice. They look really good. So they're just black with like the logo on there.
So you can look fly while you're dunking on everybody. I don't know anything about
go
tennis.
Super Saiyan. And it's nice because I have a full Dragon Ball fit now because I had a Dragon Ball shirt.
Now you just need the Supreme jacket.
No. And then I had like Goku socks too, so I have like the full lineup. If only they had shoes.
You show up and they're like, "Yo, do you like anime?" And you turn around, all Goku clothes. I hate anime. Worst. It fucking sucks. No, I don't. I can't sleep in like pajamas. I've fallen asleep fully clothed, and it always feels too stuffy. I've taken naps in clothes. I slept in jeans and shoes once. like not in the car. Like I got home and I was just tired, so I was like, all right, I'm going to sleep. And then that was weird because I woke up and my feet felt like they were like, I've never felt claustrophobic, but for some reason my feet were giving me that. Because I'm like, I don't know. I've worn shoes for longer. I wore shoes for like, I don't know, like a week straight once because of the move. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna talk about today. I was gonna talk about my move a little bit.
Your expedition.
Well, kind of. And what the fuck is? I keep looking at myself in the camera. My hair looks weirder every time I do. This is not how I've been styling my hair recently. I've been pushing it all back, and like a Prince Charming kind of look, and it's looked fine. I look kind of like a douchebag, but it looks fine. And it's out of my face, but I also, when I get home from work, I shower and go straight to sleep because I get home at like 6 a.m. I shower and go straight to sleep, so I go to sleep with wet hair and I wake up with this, and that's why it's all like spiky in the back.
Looking long and luxurious.
I do need to. I do need to get a haircut. I just don't want to. But I. Anyway, so yeah, I moved a couple months ago. I moved over to the summer. I don't really know where to start with this because it was wild.
It was a lot. It was a lot.
I'm not gonna get into everything because some stuff is like a little too personal for YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stick to the fun stuff. Fun stuff.
We can start off with you guys have been trying to move for like a really long time now.
Well, yeah, we were trying to move for a bit because like we bounce around a lot. And so every time we've moved, it's been like, okay, when are we moving again, kind of thing. It's like, okay, we're only here for a little bit, then we're moving on to the next thing. And then so we got there, and pretty much as soon as we got there, it was like, yeah, we're moving soon. And then we ended up being there for like 5 years. So we got there, and then we lived there for a while. Then we were planning on moving, and then like as time went on, it got more and more like, okay, we gotta move. And then some stuff happened. Then it was like, hey, we have to move again. And then, in the Canadian housing crisis, getting a house is not the easiest thing to do, even if you have money for it. So it's like we had to try and find a house. Oh, my voice cracked. So we had to try and find a house. So we've been renting, and this last house, the landlords, I'm not gonna like throw any names out there because it'd be too personal, but they sucked. Like our landlords were fucking awful. So they didn't. Well, for starters, they just didn't do anything. Like, they met us when we first got there, and it was like, all right, here's the keys, bye. And every time we'd have issues about stuff, like, it's like if your like washing machine breaks or whatever, it's like, all right, you call your landlord, and they're like, all right, for sure, I'll get that fixed. And to be fair, when our washing machine broke, they did pay for it, but we had to deal with like calling and setting it all up and all this other stuff. And I'm just kind of like, isn't that your guys' job? But that's a little nitpicky, I'll admit. But they didn't do anything. Like, there were so many issues, like the deck was falling apart and like things like that, and they just didn't do anything about it. And it's like, that's what you guys have to. That's your fucking job. It's your fucking house. We're just paying you money to live it, and the rent was fucking stupid. It was oh my god. It was way too much money for what the house was. Anyway, so, and then we're getting closer and closer. We had told them that we were planning on moving, and then, because they were planning on selling the house, and they were like, okay, you guys are going to buy it, right? Because you've been here for so long. And we were like, yeah, fucking right, buddy. And they were like, okay, well, we need to sell the house, so you guys need to either buy it or get the fuck out. And we were like, well, fucking joke's on you. We were planning on getting out of here anyway. The problem is that while we were planning on getting out of there, it would have been really nice to have a little bit more time. Because it's like, I've moved a couple times, like a few times in my life now. And it's like, it's the first time I've been an adult while moving, which is fun. But like, moving is not that hard. You literally just shove all your shit in boxes. Like, I took better care of my action figures than I did of like my desk.
My gosh.
But like, cause like there's like, overall, I will say sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So like, packing up and stuff is pretty easy. Like, you just, like, all my action figures, I just put them back in the box, and then I put that box in another box, and then just wrote on it like action figures, and was yelling at everyone else in the house to be like, be fucking careful with this box. This has like my life savings in it. So yeah, and then so we packed up, because the problem is because we were still trying to figure out stuff for the house we're currently in. While packing up that house, it was kind of sketch, because we were like, what if this house isn't done by the time we're supposed to leave this house? Because our landlord was like, hey, you guys are leaving on this date. And we were planning on leaving somewhere in June. And then we had said, hey, we're probably going to take off in June. And then this is where our landlord got real shitty. So starting in probably April, I want to say, our landlord started sending people to the house to like look at it. Just like start assessing, because they were like, oh, we're gonna have to do repairs and blah blah blah, and we're gonna do all this stuff. And it was like, all right, whatever, it's your house, we can't really stop you. Would prefer if you were to wait for us to leave, but I guess you just hate us, but that's fine. We've only given you so much money over the last few years, but whatever. So anyway, so they started sending people over, and they weren't like chill people. Like I get like they were weird people. So the first thing that happened was our landlord said that they weren't going to put the house they weren't going to put the house on the market yet. They weren't even going to plan on starting the process of selling it until we were out of there, right? So they were like, we're not in contacts with any real estate agents or anything like that. We were like, we just took their word for it, and we was like, okay, great. And then they were like, okay, we have someone come into the house to look at it. And my mom was working, and I was the only one home, and I have mad social anxiety. So it was like, all right, Matthew, you're going to have to talk to this guy and like let him in the house and walk around. And I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. And I was like, I'm an adult. I'm a big boy now. I can do this. So then, and I wasn't expecting some like serial killer to show up at the house. But I just don't like people. So this guy shows up, and I will say, to be fair, the first guy that showed up was really nice. He was super nice, but our landlord was like, no, we're not talking to any real estate agents. We're not even planning on selling the house until you guys are out of there. We're not going to start that process until you guys are gone. And this guy walks in and he's like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm, this is a fake name, but I'm Joseph. And then gave me his card, and his card was like, Joseph, blah, blah, blah. And on the back of it, real estate agent. And I was like,
bruh.
Huh. Funny.
That's hilarious.
All right. So then, and he was like, yeah, if you just want to give that to your parents when they get home. And I was like, do I look like that much of a kid? Like, damn, son. Like, what if I'm the owner? What if I'm the tenant? Or I guess I technically am, but you know what I mean. Anyway, so he walked around the house and he took photos of stuff because he had to assess the damage, I guess. And the thing that really pissed me off is we kind of knew our landlord was going to do this. But the house had a lot of damage because it was an older house, and it was a house from like the fucking 60s or some shit. It was an old house. I don't know exactly when, but it was an older house. And the house had a lot of damages. There was some stuff that was our fault, but a pretty vast majority of it wasn't. So this guy was walking through taking photos of all these things, and most of it wasn't our fault. And I remember thinking, I was like, our landlord's going to come back to us and be like, wow, look at all the damage you guys have to fix. We're going to charge you for this. And it's like, this isn't us. This is your decrepit-ass house that's falling apart. So, because there was like roof damage and shit. And this is stuff that we had told them about. And they were just like, oh, yeah, cool. We'll fix that. And then never did. So, anyway, so that was the first guy that came through, and then we heard that there was going to be more people coming through to look at the outside of the house, and it was like, okay, and more dudes show up, and then there was these two guys that showed up, and they were like part of a construction company, and there was this one guy that was like very like gym bro-esque, like he wore like a
muscle top,
yeah.
tank top.
And as soon as he opened the door, or I opened the door, I guess, when he was there, he immediately like puffed his chest out and everything. And I was like, if you're trying to intimidate me, buddy, like I'm already like kind of nervous, but I'm also like, bruh.
Can't be intimidated anymore.
And I also think I might have been like a little bit of like Napoleon syndrome because I was taller than this guy. So it might have been a little bit of like, oh, I can't have this scrub be taller than me. Look how strong I am.
Strong.
So anyway, but they had so many people walk to the house and do fucking nothing. And that was so uncomfortable having people just show up. Sometimes, because it's like you're supposed to give 24 hours. And sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. And it was just like, okay, cool. And sometimes people would just fucking show up at the house and just be like, oh, hey, I'm here to work tomorrow. And it's like, who the fuck are you? Like, and it's like, bruh, I know COVID is like, you know, simmered down a little bit, but like, there's still fucking even if COVID wasn't a thing, you can't just fucking show up. So it was like, we've definitely got the vibe that our landlord was like nudging to be like, so like when are you gonna get the fuck out? And it's like we're leaving on this day, and it's like, oh cool, so how can we get them to leave earlier? And it's like, listen, if we could leave earlier we would have, we just unfortunately can't. And then so a lot of people came through. Our landlord had their like brother or cousin or someone they were related to come through, and he was nice, but it was also just like, why are you here? He was there with some construction dudes, and I had to walk around with them, and it was so awkward because they were just like, it was so strange them just like standing in my room and like looking at stuff, and I'm just like, please don't touch my action figures because I will actually kill all of you. Like, you will not live to see the end of the day. But he mentioned the guy that he mentioned. So I have that samurai figure back there. It's Takeda Shingen, great figure, one of my favorite figures ever. You are the one that showed me that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And and it's he saw it and he was like, "Oh, that's cool. Is that Wolverine?" And I was like, "No, it's not Wolverine."
Oh.
And then he was like, "Oh, who is it?" And I was like, "It's Takeda Shingen. It's a mecha. He's a samurai." And he was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "You don't give a shit. Why even ask at that point?"
Oh
okay,
God.
that's fine. That's all right. That's cool. So anyway, all these fucking numpties came through. I feel I don't like being mean, but these guys, I shit you not, these construction people who came in to do renovation, they didn't bring a fucking tape measure, and they were there to take measurements. And I'm just like, bruh, how in the fuck is that your...
So did you bring a tape measure? No, I thought you had one.
So what the guy did, not the construction dude, the cousin or brother of our landlord, he literally did the thing where you walk in a straight line and count your steps. And
No
he
way.
walked from one end to the other, and he was like, "Oh, it's about 20 feet." And I was like,
bruh.
fucking God. And I was like,
professional.
And I was just like, thank fuck we're getting out of here, because if we were here during the full renovation, this house would have collapsed. Like, because Jesus Christ, they would have taken a sledgehammer to the support beam and then be like, why'd the house fall over? It was just the most like, oh my God, I didn't realize stupidity on this level was possible. But anyway, and it was just like, all right. But as time went on, because there was also a lot of stuff we had to get rid of, which is stuff that we had been meaning to do anyway. But there was some stuff that we didn't want to get rid of that we had to because we just didn't have the room. And we had people show up. We sold. Well, fuck, we didn't even sell half our shit. We gave away like 3 TVs just because we needed to get rid of them because we couldn't put them anywhere.
Oh man, yeah.
So we just gave away 3 TVs. The guy was really nice, and he was super chill. He like drove like 30-40 minutes, something like that, and then and it was like weird because like we thought like someone showing up to take 3 TVs for free, they were gonna be kind of dickish about it, but he was super like, oh my God, thank you guys so much, you're like, this is super kind of you. And he was like, yeah, me and my girlfriend, we just got a new apartment, and we want to do these things, and we want to have like 2 TVs side by side, it's gonna be great. And we were like, oh, that's nice. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. And then
I remember like doing Facebook Marketplace stuff because I wanted to buy some tennis rackets and other tennis stuff, and I go over to this lady's apartment, and she opens the door, and I'm like, hey, I'm here to pick up this it's called a ball hopper. It's kind of like a basket to hold tennis balls. I'm like, hi, I'm here to pick up the ball basket. She's like, oh yeah, sure, let me go get it. And then she hands it to me. I'm like, all right, have a nice day. And then she goes on like, yeah, I just never had like any time to play tennis. Like, it's just been sitting in my house and I just don't know what to do with it. So thank you so much for like taking it off of me. So I even gave you like a can of tennis balls. I don't know if you want it, but they're pink and they look really cool. I was like, oh yeah, thanks, I'll take it. And then she's like, yeah, I just never had the time to like use it or like go out and play tennis. Like I'm just been so busy. And anyways, I gave her $1 because it was for $1.
Yeah.
And I was just on my way. I'm like, this lady is
Hit him with
else.
the
I know
L
they're
plus
just trying to be
ratio.
nice. They're trying to be nice.
Yeah.
There's actually, you get reviewed like based on how like communication or like how nice you were, blah blah blah. So obviously they want to be super nice, but then I'm just like, I just want to get this and get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we weren't like, because we were in a rush for a lot of stuff because we were just trying to get rid of all of it. So we loaded all 3 TVs into his like Kia Soul, and we were giving away most of our DVD collection too because we didn't have a use for it, and we were giving away like a 3D fucking Blu-ray player and shit.
What?
So this guy got a hell of a deal.
For real.
Got like 3 50-inch TVs and movie. But he yeah, because we were like in a rush, so we were just like, all right, here's a TV, and like we were in such a rush that we said that we were gonna give him a 3D player, and he forgot about it, and my brother forgot about it, and I was like, and I forgot. I was like, there's definitely something else I'm supposed to give this guy. And then I was like looking at the movies, and I was like, oh shit, there's one more thing. And I ran in the house and ran back out with all these cables and this box and shit. And he was like, oh my god, thank you. Oh, there's shit in my eye.
Yeah, sometimes you just you give them like all the big items, and then you always forget about those small stuff.
Yeah, and they get back, and there's no like HDMI cable. We were a tiny bit concerned because it was like he has 40 minutes to drive. What if one of the TVs breaks? And then we were concerned for 2 whole seconds because then we were like, well, he got it for free. So if something goes wrong, it's literally no sweat off his back. Like he got it for free.
All he has to do is pay gas money. It's
yeah.
fine. And yeah, besides, it was free.
So anyway, so I had to throw out a lot of shit, which sucked because there was some stuff that we definitely wanted to keep, but just couldn't because it was like didn't have room. And then it was like, so we had to be out of there by the end of June, right? So that was our limit. We had to be gone by June 30th. And we left June 30th at like 11:45, I think. But
oh my gosh.
Anyway, so we hated being there because there's people constantly coming through. The worst of it was when the absolute worst of it was when there was something in my eye. The absolute worst of it was when our landlord was like, okay, the roof has some water damage or something. And we were like, yeah, no shit. We've been telling you about this for a while now. And they were like, yeah, so it has some damage. So they're going to come in and replace a tiny part of the roof. And it was like, okay. And then they came in and they were there for like 3 days. They tore up the entire roof and then replaced it all. So like 6 a.m, they would be walking around banging on the roof, hammering into the ceiling and stuff. And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? While we're still trying to pack. And the worst part was, so they had some it was a very like cheap construction. Like they just needed like able bodies. So there was some like really young, like some of these dudes were maybe like 6 months older than me, right? Some of them look younger than me. And they, like, it was just kind of like that thing. It was like very clear that's like, okay, we're not welcome here. It's like, get the fuck out. And we were like, yeah, for sure. We'd love to. We just can't yet. And they never, obviously they never said, hey, you guys need to leave right now. It was just very heavily like, it felt like our landlord gave these construction goobers like specific instructions to be like, just be as a big assholes as you possibly can be. And they were like, for sure, and took that to 11 because it was like, so they were throwing shit just off the roof, like pieces of the roof. They were just chucking it off the side. And it's like, we have dogs and shit. What if we were outside walking them or whatever and a fucking chunk of roof comes flying down? Some of these chunks of roof are bigger than my dog and my sister's dogs combined. So it's like, are you fucking kidding me? So, and we had to go out to we had like a garbage bin that we were chucking shit into, and we couldn't really do that. And it was like also just super sketchy of having like 7 complete strangers roll up. They were like they were smoking everywhere and they were throwing the cigarettes into the bushes, and it's like, fucking stomp it out at least, because Jesus Christ, you're gonna burn the house down, and it's gonna be like, well, that's not my fault. And it was just the most like, they were pissing on the house, and they were like just complete fucking animals. They pissed on the garage door. They were looking through our garbage and shit, and they were just like they would have like lunch and stuff, and they would just throw it off the side of the house. And it was like, okay, so I guess we're the ones to clean that up then. Okay, cool. They also wanted the lawn mowed, right? But we couldn't do that because they were chucking nails and stuff into the grass, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go ruin a fucking lawnmower to do this shit. And it's like, I'm not gonna go pick up all their shit. And then they went through and picked up some of it and left it 90% of it behind. So we didn't cut the grass, and we told them that because like we fucking can't. It's like, you want to go trash a lawnmower, be my guest. And it was just the most like, oh my God, like you could not have been more of a see you next Tuesday about this shit. Like, my God. It was like, holy shit. But the banging on the roof and just having fucking random strangers looking in the window and shit was just so uncomfortable. Cause it's like it was just so like one of them, like we had the doors locked, and we were told explicitly they will not come inside the house, and we were like, okay, they will not come inside the house. So then this dude's trying the lock, trying to get into the door and jiggling the thing, and it's like, okay, I don't like that. And it's something that it's like, no, he probably wasn't trying to break in to steal all of our shit, but it's still just like super uncomfortable having this dude like try and open the door. He probably just had to take a piss, but it's like, you're already peeing on the fucking house, you might as well keep going. Like, oh my God. And it was just so uncomfortable. But also I had packed up most of my computer stuff, so my setup was a laptop on my desk with like nothing around it. I think I had my Switch actually, which sucked because I wasn't really playing a whole lot of games. So I was just like, it was like a lot of work and stress, and then being bored. At least until it got towards the end where we were like down to the wire. So we had packed a lot of stuff, and we were getting ready, and it was like, so U-Haul trucks you have to rent, and you have them for like a week or so. And we were driving pretty far, so we were gonna need it for a few days. So we go to get a U-Haul, and we had a reservation. Now, I got legit beef with U-Haul now because we had a reservation, which I ain't no whiz kid, but I'm pretty sure reservation means it's yours, no one else can take it. What it actually means is, fuck you, we're going to give this to whoever we feel like, because we called, and this is like maybe 3 or 4 days before we have to move. Because it's like, we're not going to get a U-Haul truck and just have it sit out front. It's like, no, you're going to get everything sorted. You get the U-Haul truck, load it, leave the next day. That's how we've always done it. And that's really how you should do it, because it makes no sense to have an expensive-ass U-Haul sitting in your front yard while you do nothing. It's like, no, you get everything else completely sorted until the truck is here, then you load it all really quick, and then you're done. And so then call about this U-Haul. And they're like, oh, yeah, we sent you an email, and you were supposed to call us and reconfirm your reservation, but you didn't do that. We also didn't tell you about that, but fuck you. So we didn't have a U-Haul now, like 3 days before the fucking move. And it was like, okay, so we got 2 cars, like 2 not huge cars, to move like all of our shit. No biggie. Like, so that's, and we had already thrown out a lot of stuff. So then it was like, I'm laughing and joking about it now, but I cannot stress how fucking miserable this was. Because it was like, holy shit, we got clowns banging on the roof, pissing on the house, dancing around up there, banging on the thing as soon as 6 a.m. rolls around. It's like, Jesus Christ, let me sleep for 5 fucking minutes. And it was just like, and now we don't have a U-Haul, and we might have to throw out literally everything besides like my laptop. And I'm like, bruh, if I have to throw out all my action figures, my computer stuff, all that stuff, and we're leaving this house with us and our dogs, someone is dying. like we were all on the edge. This was miserable. And I was like, if that fucking one of those clowns walked in like, hey, construction's going well, I would have been like fucking Tropica and Hunter x Hunter. I would have showed up with a shovel and nothing else. Like, it would not have gone well. But anyway, so it was just so. Oh, that was another thing. They brought an air compressor and it fucking broke. And then they were like, "Can we use yours?" And it was like,
bruh.
like,
you should have charged them. You should have been like, you gotta pay up if you want to use ours.
Well, they didn't use ours. What they did do was they were like, okay, we got another one. Can we plug it into can we plug it into the one of the plugs on the inside? So we had to open the garage door, which we were super uncomfortable with that because we were like, all of our shit's in there, and these clowns are probably going to break something if they're walking around there. It's also just a thing of like, I know I sound kind of privileged, but I'm like, I just don't like, fuck, I know it's not our house because we're renting it, but I still just don't like strangers being in my fucking personal bubble, especially when it's like they never introduced themselves. It was never like, hey, we're the goobers, we're going to be working on your house. That would have been great. Like,
hey, we're the Koopa Troopa.
Instead, they just showed up and started tearing shit off the roof, and I'm like, and so it's like I know I might sound a little privileged, being like, I don't want these hardworking people coming into my house, but it's like I don't. It was super uncomfortable. So anyway, it was just like, oh my god, if you guys were a legit construction company that was professional, you would have had generators, you would have had this shit so much more planned out. Instead, it was just a couple of dudes, just a couple of guys being dudes, tearing up the roof. Like, it was like, holy shit. Anyway, so we have no U-Haul truck. We're like, ah, fuck. And we're like, okay, we need something. So we call around. We were going to see if we could rent like a fucking 18-wheeler with a container out the back of it. We were like looking for anything we could get just because it's like, hey, we can't get rid of all of our shit, right? Because the U-Haul was like, oh, your reservation, our next available thing is like, it was like the end of July, and we were like, hey, we can't stay here another month. We just straight up can't. And it's like, we can't stay here for another month, and we can't just go live in hotels for a month while all of our shit sits here, right? Because we couldn't even get a storage locker, because that was the next thing we were going to do, was get rid of all of our big stuff, unfortunately, but we could still keep all of our like smaller personal stuff, and then go stick it in a storage container for a month, and then just drive one thing back and forth, stick in a storage container, live in a hotel for a month. But it was like, hey, we literally can't afford that. So then we instead got lucky. It feels weird saying lucky, but we did get lucky because it's like, you know, got to count your blessings where they are. We were able to get a container, a very expensive container, I'll say. Very expensive. Oh my God. It was so much more expensive than a U-Haul, and U-Haul is already pretty expensive. And it's so they had like a little truck. It was I don't know, maybe it's not. It was not like a full like large container. It was fairly small, and they drive up, they drop it off. The guys are still working on the roof, and they have all their vehicles there, so we have to go yell at them and be like, can you move your shit so we can park our stuff? And they were like, oh yeah, for sure. So at least it was that. If they were like, no, sorry, we can't move them, I honestly would have lifted the car up and fucking blown it at that point. Like, I was livid. So then the container gets here. It's not ideal. We still have to throw out more stuff to make it fit because it's much smaller than a U-Haul. But it was like, okay, we have something. We can still keep a majority of our shit, right? So me and my brother spent the rest of the day packing the container. And by this point, I was definitely beyond tired. Because it's like lifting lifting heavy shit all day and just constantly moving and barely stopping to break. And stress is a killer, man. And then go to sleep, wake up the next morning, and I'm sick. Like, I got like a sore throat, a headache. I feel like absolute Garbo Town. And I'm like, bruh, I still got like 2 more days of moving and packing shit up. And I'm like, I feel like this now. Like, oh Christ.
I mean, it's no wonder, like,
and it's like everything,
after all that stress.
Well, it's like, it was just like, oh my God, and like I'm sore and everything hurts, and I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, just gotta pack everything up. This is fine. This is good. There was some stuff. So like my desk, I have a standing desk, and it's made of glass. Like the top part's glass. So we're like, okay, we're probably not gonna put this in the container. We'll put my desk in the car with me and my brother. So I took apart my desk, and we wrapped it in a blanket, and then we put it in the thing. And then the container, we packed it full, got all of our stuff in it, got most of our stuff in it. And I was exhausted. I almost cried. I got pretty close. I didn't quite cry. I got pretty close though. We had to move my brother's toolbox. And that shit was heavy. It's like a giant fucking toolbox full of tools. And my brother, also being stressed and just wanting to get this over with, was like, let's just roll it. And we got there, and it was like, yo man, I hate to burst your bubble, but we're not lifting a like 1,000-pound toolbox up like this much gap. Like, neither of us is He-Man. So then we were like, okay, well, we'll lift the top part, and the top part's still like 300-400 pounds probably. Oh, so we were like, gosh. Okay, let's lift the top part and separate that. And then we couldn't do that, and we were just like, oh. And then that's when I almost cried, because I was like, I literally don't have the strength to even budge this thing. So then we completely emptied it out, and it was still pretty heavy, but it was enough that we could get it into the thing, lock the wheels, strap it in. No, like, sorting the tools, just jam them in there. We'll deal with it later. It was just like, Jesus Christ. So got this tiny container packed full of our stuff. And not to toot our horns, but me and my brother did a pretty good job packing that thing, because like the fact that everything stayed together and, like, spoiler alert, but nothing broke, was like, wow. Got that thing packed in. We should be moving professionals, because we were more professional than those fucking numpties on the roof. But anyway, so yeah, and that was another thing about the thing, is they didn't have like safety harnesses or anything like that. They didn't even have fucking hard hats. Like, they had literally nothing. They were there in shorts, and they took their shirts off and stuff. And it's like, bro, I know it's hot, but holy fuck. And they're like standing right on the edge and like bolting shit in, and I'm like, you could slip right now, and you're plummeting like fucking 15 feet, dude. And it's like, but then it was also just like, well, whatever, you signed the contract. Probably not, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pulled up to the middle school and was like, hey, you guys want to go work on a roof? And they were like, yeah, let's do it. That's what happened. That's what it felt like, man. Anyway, so we got the thing packed to the best we could, and then because then once the house was empty, we had to go through and clean it all. And then we were doing that, and then we woke up June 30th, and it was like, okay, holy fuck, we need to be gone tonight. We need to be out of the house by the end of today. And it's like, all right, here we go. So we were like rushing all day to get things cleaned up and packed up and all this stuff. And we got it done. We got everything packed up, because it was like we had to do cleaning, because the day before the container was leaving. So we were like, hey, we got to pack this thing and lock it, and then the guy's going to come pick it up, and then we'll see that thing and hopefully soon. And because that was also scary, because like, hey, we don't know this company. Hopefully they're not just going to take our shit and sell it to somebody. Because I got like $3,000 worth of action figures over here, man. Like some guy's gonna be like, "Holy shit, is that the fucking Attack on Titan Levi Figma? Holy shit, dude! I've been looking for one of these." So
You win.
just fucking, but anyway, so got it packed up and locked, and we were just like, okay, we didn't forget everything. Everything's packed up. Like, hopefully this thing makes it there, and then hopefully nothing gets battered around and destroyed. So it's all packed up. It takes off. Then we just got to clean everything, and then we spend the next 2 days doing that. And then June 30th rolls around. We still have a lot of work to do, and we're just rushing to get shit done. And then the end of the day comes up, like it's like approaching, and we're getting like completely exhausted. Like it's just like, oh my god, this is miserable. Because by this point, obviously, we're all like beyond tapped out. Because it's like, holy shit, this has been like, like 2 weeks of. I mean, it's been a few months of absolute bullshit, but like the last couple weeks in particular have been the worst. So then we were like, okay, do we send our landlord a message and be like, hey, we need one more day to sleep and get a couple of things sorted? Or do we say, sure, feck it, and then, you know, do the last little bits and sleep in the car tonight? And we were all like, we want to get the fuck out of this house as soon as possible. So that's what we did. So we left at 11:45 at night, 15 minutes to July 1st. And we slept in a parking lot. And it was super uncomfortable. And then
I would rather that than stay at the house.
Well, that was another thing is it just made no sense to just like we were just like we just gotta get the fuck out of here
and just be sleeping on the floor.
And then, but also I will say, once we started putting some distance between us and that house, we all started to feel a little bit better. So that was the move saga. That was the packing, getting out of the house. Now for the actual move. This is like the little bonus story. I know I've been talking for like an hour. I feel so bad. But so we started. So we got on the road, and we were driving. We started to feel better as the drive went on. Now, the two vehicles that we did this in was a newer car and a not so new car. So my brother has a 1986 vehicle, or a car from 1986, and we drove that across the country. So as we were driving, all in all, it was pretty fine. Didn't have many issues until we got to like the halfway point that we stopped. We took a break. We were taking the views, and it was like, oh, this is wonderful. The car just like didn't turn on.
Oh no!
Like we used the bathroom and like, you know, let the dogs out, let them do their business. We could stretch our legs, and then it was like, all right, back on the road. The other car started no problem, and then me and my brother get in the car, and it's like, you know, okay. One second here, man. I'm sure this is where. Fuck. And then, you know, gets out and starts looking at stuff, and we were just like, oh, ruh-roh, raggy. And then, then my brother, like, you know, jacks the car up. We unpack half our shit, jacks the car up, starts like looking under it, trying to figure out what the issue is. And then, so then my brother was like, "Oh, it's the fuel pump. It's the fuel pump." Now my brother knows a thing or two about cars. He's a wicked smart, that guy. So he knows a thing or two about cars. And then he like takes apart the fuel pump, and it starts leaking fuel. And then it's like, oh shit. And then my brother was like, okay, it's probably the fuel pump. And then he like stops the leakage, and then he's like, okay, I need to test this. So he has like a battery, and he's like, okay, so if I zap it and fuel comes out, then it's not the fuel pump. So he was like, all right, Matthew, you hold the fuel pump, and I'm gonna put electricity to it. And I was like, is this thing not gonna fucking explode, lighting fuel and heat? Like, and then And then my mom was like, okay, hold on, let's wait a second. Let's figure this out. And he was like, we don't have time. All right, you ready? And I'm like, hold on a second. Am I going to blow up? And he was like, I don't know. And it was like, hold on a second, man. I ain't looking to explode today. It's funny now, but at the time we were like, anyway, so we didn't do that. Still don't know if it would have blown up or not. Pretty sure it wouldn't have, but still better to be safe than sorry and not explode. So then my brother was getting frustrated, obviously, because it was like, this sucks. We just want to get back on the road. And then it started pissing rain, like absolutely downpour, just colossal.
Oh,
like,
no.
holy shit. And it's like, can we just get a fucking break? Like, it was like, for the love of God, like, come on, throw me a bone here. And so yeah, it was just pissing rain. And then we sat in the car, and then it was like, okay, well, I guess we're not going anywhere, so we're just gonna have to sit in the car and chill. And like by that point, like my sweater was soaked and my pants were soaked, and it was cold. And then we had some blankets, which was nice. So we got blankets, and then I think my brother went to sleep, and I watched Stranger Things. So that wasn't too bad, watching Stranger Things. That was a pretty good show.
Nice.
And then so did that. And then where we did get pretty lucky was there was a store nearby in the town, and we, through the grapevine, we were able to get in contact with the owner. And she was so fucking nice. Like, oh my God, her and her husband were absolute angels after the people we've been dealing with. She gave us like chips and shit for free. And she was just super nice, and she was like, hey, you can use our garage to like jack up the car and get it like off the ground so you can like actually walk under it and like do stuff. And she was like, any parts you need from inside the store, just take them. Whatever you need, just get it fixed. Cause like she knew that like we wouldn't need like $6,000 worth of parts. It was like we were gonna need like $30. And she was like, no, just don't even worry about it. And she was being really, really nice. And, you know, in my time, I haven't experienced a lot of that. So when someone's nice to me, I'm so suspicious of it. I'm like, this is sus as hell. Because this person's absolutely like looking for something. Like, they're not just being nice out of the goodness of their heart. It's like, no, I smell something weird here. So anyway, turns out she was just really nice. Because she had the same thing when she drove through the same area like 15 years ago. Her vehicle broke down, and she was also stranded, and the people at the store that she now owns helped her out. And then she was like, okay, I'm just like paying it forward. And it was like, wow, that's fucking pretty convenient. But
and now you guys are gonna own the store.
I hope
and
not.
You're gonna help the next traveler that passes by and has their car broken down.
I don't think we're gonna follow in her footsteps that closely, but I it is one of those things that I'm like, I do want to do what I can to like pay it forward kind of thing, because it was like that was very nice of her. And like her husband, like, because the next day, because we had to sleep in a parking lot, she offered, she was like, oh, if I had a room, I would let you come over to my house, but my house is not very big. And we were also like, that's fine. It'd be weird to go to your fucking house. And all the hotels were like completely booked. So we were going to be sleeping in cars again. But at least we was like, okay, we're in a parking lot. It's, you know, it's whatevs. Nothing we ain't done before. So did that. We got the car somewhat fixed, but it was like, hey, I think there's still more that needs to be done. So we're like, we're gonna need to get into there tomorrow, and then we did. Her husband the next morning came out to us, and he was like, the poor guy was like stressed out of his gourd. Like the dude was. Because he's running a store, and he's running a store. He's busy. He's doing all this stuff, and he still took time out of his day to come check up on us, which was super kind of him. And he was like, "Hey, sorry, it's been a crazy morning, but the shop's open now. You guys can come in, do what you need to do. I'll be around. So if you need help, just come in the store, come find me. We're like, okay, awesome. Thanks so much. And then, so then we got the car fixed. My brother got the car fixed. But thanks to them allowing us to grab some stuff from inside the store and also just use the tools in the shop was also a huge help. Cause like my brother, like some of the tools he needed, he didn't have. I don't know where I was going with that. But we're able to get everything sorted and then back on the road. And then from there, no issues. It was just a straight shot till we got to where I am now. And
nice.
Luckily, in hindsight, it's stuff that I can, like, if we would have recorded this podcast 3 months ago, this would not have been as funny. Like, I would have been like,
I think it's good because, you know, you have some time to, like, I think it's funny now because we're, like, reflecting back on it. And
yeah.
Whenever you're in the moment, it never feels good.
No, it sucked with a capital S. And then, because once we got here, we didn't have any of our stuff, obviously, because if we had a U-Haul, we would show up with our stuff. But because it was a container, we were just kind of like, because they were like, it could be a week, it could be a month, like, you know, it'll get there when it gets there. And we were just like, okay. And I felt bad because I had my laptop with me. But, like, my sisters, my mom, my brother, all their shit was in the container. A lot of my stuff was still missing. Like, I didn't have my PlayStation or my action figures. First world problems. Like, everyone else, like, had, like, basically nothing for, like, entertainment and shit. I had my laptop. So, and I needed to buy a new keyboard and mouse anyway. I had packed my old ones, but I needed to buy a new one anyway, so I bought a new keyboard and mouse. So I got a pretty decent setup almost because I had my desk with me because we had to pack that up. I was sitting on like a shit chair, but like, I mean, fucking listen to me. Like, oh, I gotta sit on a chair that's not that comfy, and everyone else is like sitting on the ground rubbing sticks together. So it's like, well, I'm over here playing Overwatch. So it's like, you know, fucking, but yeah, so that was cool. And then the container showed up way faster than expected. It showed up like, I think almost exactly a week, I want to say, of us getting here. So which that was not too bad, especially because it was like, it could be a month. So it was like, that wasn't too bad. The internet here is so much faster. Like, oh my God. I uploaded the last episode of the podcast in like an hour and a bit, maybe, and it was like 12 gigabytes.
It's pretty good.
And if I was living where I used to live, that literally would have taken like a day and a half. So that's pretty good. So not all of it bad. Nothing broke. Like literally nothing broke. We got some scratches here and there. Like my fridge, the top of it has some scratches in it, but it's like,
can't help it.
Like, bruh. Like, I don't care. Like, it's covered with, like, I mean, I got a pretty, like, I don't have a TV stand. My fridge is my TV stand right now. So I just have a TV sitting on top of the fridge, but that covers the scratches, so we're good.
Big brain.
But, like, my monitor was totally fine. All my action figures were great. I was really nervous about some of my figures because I was like, oh my God, if something presses up against them and they're gone, I'm going to die.
If anything sneezed on them.
Well,
gone.
Takeda Shingen was packed pretty well. And because I had got that figure like not too long before we moved, I still had the box and all the styrofoam stuff. So I was like looking up videos and I took a lot of pictures and stuff, and I was like studying them to see exactly how he was packaged. So I replicated that perfectly. I was like a surgeon putting him back in the box with the styrofoam perfectly placed everywhere. And I was like, this thing is not going to break if my life depends on it. And as you can see, he made it fine. Figures great. All my figures are good. I've ordered new figures since I've gotten here, but nothing broke. Everything is good. Again, we had a couple scratches here and there. But nothing like straight up shattered, like was completely like turned to dust kind of thing. We brought 2 TVs with us. And one TV still had the styrofoam in the box and it was packaged fine. The other TV didn't, so I just put it back on the box and just hope for the best. And we had something slide and puncture the box, and the TV was still fine. It was like literally like this much space between the thing that slid and then the TV. So it was like, oh boy, if he would have taken a turn just a little harder, then the TV would be gone. And it's like, you know, so the worst thing to come out of that scuffed move is a busted box and a couple of scratches, I'd say. And that's what I'm saying when me and my brother did a pretty good job packing it. Especially because, like, we didn't put that much thought into it. We didn't, like, really plan it out much. We were just like, hey, we just gotta get this thing fucking jam-packed full. We got, like, 18 hours to do this shit. And it was like, all right, it's go time. It's fucking Morbin time. Let's get this thing packed.
Tetris master over here.
So, yeah. What's that unpacking game? I could probably ace that game, no problem.
Was it Unboxed or something? Yeah.
Oh, something like that. I could probably absolutely nail that.
Overcooked, but for packing.
So yeah, everything's better now. Doing good. I still have some like tech issues and stuff here and there, but that's not the move's fault. I bought a PS5 recently.
That's totally the move's fault.
Things have gotten better. I just ordered the Todoroki figure from Amazing Yamaguchi. Super excited for that because then I'll complete my My Hero Academia collection right there. I got All Might, Bakugo, and Midoriya. I don't know why I do this, like you can see it, but if you squint real hard, maybe.
I can kind of see it.
And
I see All Might and Bakugo.
Yeah, All Might is pretty.
Oh, I see Midoriya too. Yeah.
And soon I'm gonna have Todoroki, and Todoroki is gonna really stand out because he has a bunch of like cool fire effects and ice stuff, and he looks super cool, and I'm very excited.
Fire.
Yes, fire. So yeah, that was my epic move. I talked for almost a full hour. So.
It was a lie. I'm surprised because I feel like all of it. I think you said it would have been 2 episodes worth, but or at least you did say it was like a separate episode, so you managed to fit it all.
I definitely left some stuff out. You
did cut a lot of corners though.
I left some stuff out because I'm just kind of like, there's some stuff that I'm like, all right, there's a line, like got to keep this parasocial thing, you know. So it's like, you know,
but you got a good bulk of it.
So yeah, hopefully it was entertaining to listen to.
It was a roller coaster.
I'm always concerned about telling stuff like that because I'm like, the problem that I have with myself when I tell stories, I'm either pretty good at it or I spend an hour trying to tell the story. Excuse me. So I also just hope that it wasn't like, because there's things that I've said that I'm like, I find funny, and then everyone else, as I'm telling the story, they're like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And I'm like laughing, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's trauma," and I'm like, "Trauma, schwama, I'm fine."
I think in the moment it's like pretty traumatizing.
So yeah, I just hope that at the very least someone can laugh at my pain. Content, baby. So anyway, how you been this week?
I never have anything as crazy as what Matthew has going on, but this weekend I have my tennis tournament, and
hell yeah!
I haven't been recording like myself playing tennis like I wanted to for content or for the content that I'll never make, but it's coming up. It's on Friday, and I'm a little excited. I'm not sure if I'll be playing all 3 days. What's up?
Is it being streamed or anything? This is
No,
more for me.
it's-
Can I? Where can I watch this? I can't fly to America on that short of a notice.
I'll set up a tripod and I'll have my phone there for an hour and a half or however long it takes.
I'll just be on a Discord call. Someone will look over and be like, "Who's that dude in the corner?" Hello.
But yeah, I'm excited. I have like a stiff neck because I was practicing last night, and I didn't sleep like in the right position, so now my neck is stiff.
You
But
gotta
it'll be okay.
get. Can a mattress company sponsor us so Davis can get a good night's sleep?
Yo, can we talk about how many mattress firms there are in America? Like, there's way too many. I feel like, because aren't mattresses only supposed to be like every 8 years or something, or 10 years? Like, why are there so many? I think so. They're supposed to last you a while, but
see,
why are there so many mattress places?
I'm when it comes to like sleep, I do not take sleep as seriously as I should. Like, there's so many things. Like, it's like, you know, you should. Recently I've been, because I have like my shoulders like move inward, and I got
Same.
like shit posture, and I've noticed that it like hurts sometimes. So I'm like, I've been trying to do exercise and stuff to like get my shoulders more balanced. And one of them is sleeping on your back. And I do notice every time I sleep on my back, my shoulders like sink a bit and they feel really good. But I am a fucking goblin, so I'll like sit on my side with like my arm like this, and I'll crawl up, and I'm just like, yes, comfort. So I'll sleep like that. Or sometimes I'll sleep on my chest, but I find that sleeping on my chest is like something when I'm like, I just can't get comfy, and I'll do the full rotation like I'm a fucking rotisserie chicken. And then, eventually I'll find the position. Recently I've been, because I need noise to like go to sleep. Like, I have a fan constantly going because I'm like, I didn't realize how bad it was. So when we moved, I got a listen to me, I bought it. I didn't buy it. I got it for free. But I got a window AC unit, and it made some noise and it cooled everything off, and it was pretty good. I still have it. It's just cold now, so I don't have it in the window. And it made a decent noise. So I really liked that noise. And I didn't realize how much I liked that noise until I took it out, and it was dead silent. And I was like, I literally can't sit still. I was like losing my shit.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh my God. So I put it back in the window. It was like midnight, like midnight, 1 a.m. And I mean, I stay up all night anyway, but I put it back in the window. And then as soon as I turned the noise on, I was like, it's like the most like, and I'm like, music to my ears. And then it got too cold, and my mom was like, hey, you gotta take that shit out. And I was like, I need noise. And then she was like, all right. And then I got a fan. And then the fan is quieter, but it's enough to keep me chill. Yeah, so it's like, I learned that I desperately need noise. I don't know what it is. I don't know exactly like where it comes from, or it's just a weird thing I got. But I also like listening to YouTube videos when going to sleep. So I like playing videos I've already seen. One, because I'm not worried I'm missing content, and two is because I'm like, what if it's scary? I don't want to be going to sleep and then it's like,
but jump scare pops out.
Yeah. So I just like watch videos that I've seen before. I always try and do videos that are like 30-40 minutes long, because that's usually enough for me to fall asleep. But I've gotten a lot better at just like lying down and closing my eyes and then falling asleep. Before, I would watch a video and like watch it until I like dozed off. I find I've been falling asleep quicker, which is good. But I'm like, I used to stay up for 12 hours, sleep for 12 hours. Now I'm awake for like 16, 17 hours, and I sleep for 7, and it feels a lot better. So yeah, that's sleep tips with Matthew.
Nice.
there is still stuff like I don't wash my sheets as often as I should. You know, it's like you're supposed to do it like once a week or some shit, and I do it once a year.
Oh man.
Like I rarely do it. I don't do my own laundry until I'm like, I open my closet and I'm like, okay, I got a shirt from 8 years ago to wear. Okay, maybe I should do my laundry. And the thing is,
we get ours like once a week. Yeah.
Dude, laundry?
The laundry, yeah.
Like clothes?
Like clothes, yeah.
Oh.
Like you know, we've had like a week's worth of clothes to cycle through, and then
okay, yeah,
they'll be gone, and then we do it once.
I guess, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking that was so weird. But yeah, like I do my own laundry, because I'm a big boy now. Also, laundry's not that hard. You just throw it all in the machine, pour some stuff in, push a couple of buttons, and you're good. Then it's like clean. When I went to go wash my new expensive pants, I put them in and I fucking jam packed the laundry machine, and my mom was like, "Yeah, just put it on delicate," and I was like, "Oh, for sure." And then put it on delicate, and the washing machine made some like really loud like crunching noise, and it started beeping at me, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
It's
and
not
then,
delicate at all.
And then I was like, "Hey, Ma, the fucking machine's broken." And then she was like, "Oh God." And then she looked at it and she was like, "Jesus Christ, you didn't need to put that much stuff in it." And I was like, oh, "Okay." And I thought of that TikTok of that guy that was filming his wife, and she was like jamming the thing full and like using her shoulder to close the door. And he was like, "Fucking hell, you complain about the machine breaking, but you know, if the door closeth, the machine must washeth." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of my philosophy on it." And my mom's like, "No, if it's that jam packed, you're not cleaning anything. It's just a ball of clothes rolling around." And I'm like, "It's good enough." So yeah, but so yeah, kids, do your own laundry. It's really easy, and it'll be useful for when you move out and your ma can't drive over to your apartment to do your laundry. I don't separate it out as much as I probably should. Like, I'm such a caveman when it comes to doing laundry. I
feel like clothes have gotten better. Like, you don't need to separate it as much.
Well, like, I mean, this is a perfectly white shirt that I wash with all my other clothes, and I have like a bright orange sweater and stuff, and this thing's always stayed white. So
yeah, I feel like clothes have gotten better to the, you know, the colors don't really blend too much anymore. Yeah. I'm
also like pretty selective when it comes to clothes. Like, I don't buy clothes super often. Well, recently I bought a lot more because it's been getting colder, and I realized I don't have as many sweaters as I thought I did. So I bought a bunch of sweaters and stuff, and I bought a bunch of t-shirts, and I'm still waiting for all of it to show up. My sweaters were supposed to show up yesterday. It's now today, and they're still not here. So I don't know where the fuck they are. I ordered shirts like 2 weeks ago. So I ordered 3 shirts and a poster, and they shipped separately. And the poster was the last to ship, but the poster showed up yesterday, and I still haven't seen the shirts. So I'm like,
bruh,
the fuck? I also ordered the poster. And because I'm a dumbass, the picture they used to like show off the art, it was in a frame. So my goofy ass was like, "Oh, it must come with a frame." And I was like, "Oh, it's so cheap. What a steal. I got the cool art and a frame. Hell yeah." And then it showed up in a little cylindrical tube, and I was like, "Yeah, man, that's a weird looking frame." So
I guess I gotta inflate it.
So I haven't put it up yet because I gotta get a frame. But it'll probably go somewhere back there because I want to get some floating shelves and put some action figures on them. Get it looking fresh.
I don't even use frames. I put them on some like those poster boards, and then I tape them on there, and then I put them on my wall. Which is, yeah, it's probably bad, but it makes it to where the poster isn't like all flippity floppity, you know, but like it's still like uniform, and it looks not too bad.
Sorry, I'm just looking at your background now. Is that one poster cockeyed?
Which one?
Not the Van Gogh one, the one next to it, the one in the middle. Is that one slightly kilter? Or is I can't tell if that's slightly off center or your whole camera's just.
I think it's a camera at this point because.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, maybe because look at this.
When I put up paintings, I measured it and leveled it, and I guess I didn't do that when it came to the stuff over there. It's just out of frame, thank fuck. But I noticed it when I walked in I came out back from the bathroom the other day, and I saw it, and I was like, It was, and
it
it's like
me too much.
Well, mine, I have two like rectangle paintings and then one bigger one, and the bigger one is slightly shifted. Then there's one on top that's perfectly level, and the bottom one's slightly shifted. And I was like, how the fuck did I mess it up that badly? Like, it looks really bad now that I've noticed it. But I kind of like that idea because I'm also like, frames are cool. But my concern was like getting a frame was that the reflections from here, because I got lights and shit. I'm like, oh, it's probably gonna look kind of goofy. But now I'm like, I might try what you got going on.
It's not the.
Maybe I'll just get a piece of cardboard, tape it to that, nail the cardboard to the wall.
That's pretty much what the poster board is. All it was to like make it stiff and like flatten the image out and stuff. I didn't do anything fancy.
No, but that's big brain though. Can you get like a matte frame?
Like, a matte frame?
A frame that isn't glossy? Is that a thing possible with glass?
I think you can, right? Listen, you take the glass, right? You buy it glossy, but then you take a coat of like clear matte spray paint and you spray over it. It might work. It'll make it like, more dull. It might take away from the picture, but
no,
it might not make
I
it
got a
as
really
reflective.
I like the art that I got. It's like a fox on like a Japanese like horizon.
What a weeb.
Okay. Think I'm a weeb now. Just you wait. I'm going to go full weeb. I'm going to walk in one of these days and I'm going to like fix my glasses and be like, haha.
You're going to be like Ego from Blue Lock.
Oh, dude, that was so cool in the new episode. I don't know why him just like, I don't know why he like favors Team Z so much. Probably because he knows they're the protagonist.
I think they cater their help to like the weaker teams, and then
my theory is that he sees that Team Z has the most potential if they just get that little nudge. So, but also I guess we don't see what he's saying to the teams. But I'm like, I imagine he's going to like Team V and being like, "Wow, you guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing." Anyway, I'm gonna go check on the other losers. And Team V is like, "Oh, thanks, bro."
Imagine the other teams like B through whatever level.
Dude, when they get to the top teams, whatever the fuck they are, holy cow! I feel like that's gonna be insane.
It's gonna be nuts. All right,
So,
but I think
Blue Lock is good shit.
A good place to stop it, I think.
Sorry for talking for literally this entire episode. I think you may be able to count on one hand how many words Davis said.
That's not true.
I feel so bad. But one of these episodes, we just need to have a tennis episode where you'll be able to talk the whole episode, and I'll be like, "Yes, tennis, fascinating."
Just all the tennis anime I've ever watched, which is 2.
That's all the tennis anime that exists, is it not?
Soft tennis, there might be like 4.
Soft tennis? Oh my god, is tennis with 4-year-olds?
No.
Alright. Alrighty, so that was my pain. Next week, hopefully
next week we'll
less
talk
of it.
about how Blue Lock will potentially be my new favorite anime. Question mark.
Oh snap!
Yeah,
Clickbait title. Here it comes.
Which is huge.
But yeah, so that's all I have. Be sure to subscribe.
Like the video.
Yeah.
It helps.
And to have a fucking fantastic evening, morning, day, whatever. And
Good day
yeah.
to you, mate.
It is fucking Tuesday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday for us.
Yes.
All right.
Alrighty.
We'll see you
Bye.
next time. Peace out.